We've been tracking likes all April long between all of our AFC North channels, and right now it's a very close second place for the Ravens rundown. If this video can get like 400 likes, we can overtake Steelers Talk, we can overtake first place, and prove to everybody here that I work with that the Baltimore Ravens really do run the AFC North. Yesterday, Mel Kiper Jr. made an appearance on the Lounge podcast to talk a lot of NFL draft. We're going to recap what he said because he gave a pretty big update, and it was pretty different to everything that he'd been saying about the Baltimore Ravens in all of his past mock drafts. So basically, Kiper went on to say that he really likes edge rusher for Baltimore, which is interesting because if you think back to his last four mock drafts, it was Siobhan Revel Jr., Nick Eamon-Warry, and then Malaki Starks twice for Baltimore in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. And now recently, just 12 or 9 days away from the NFL Draft happening, he goes on this podcast, says he likes edge rusher. Here's a little more about what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say. I always want to close out games late in the fourth quarter. It's that one drive or two drives that's going to determine your fate. Can you close it out? To be able to get after the quarterback is so critical. To me, you can never have enough good pass rushers. And finally, Mel is preaching what I've been preaching for the last month. Hell, for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 months, ever since I saw this team go up against Buffalo in the playoff game and absolutely lay an egg on the defensive front portion of that contest. 1 sack, not a single quarterback hit, 6 QB pressures, and a quarterback pressure of 26.1%, which seems high until you look at the other statistics and realize that that would be ranked second to last among the National Football League in quarterback pressure rate. They were not effective in getting to Josh Allen, and because of that, Josh Allen just got to sit back there, pat the ball, and dish it out to whoever he wanted to. And again, I love Kyle Van Noy. I love Odafe Oweh. But this team in this draft needs to find their long-term solution at edge rusher. And I think, as well as Mel Kiper Jr., believes that it can be done in the first round of the NFL draft. So let me know. Should Baltimore draft edge in round 1? I think so. Mel Kiper Jr. thinks so. Now it's your turn to tell me if you think so as well. Give me a yes, give me a no in the comment section down below. So you can say what position you want, all you want, till you're blue in the face, but it really doesn't mean much until you tell us, who you see in that position to the Baltimore Ravens. Well, Mel Kiper Jr. gave 3 names. We're going to break them all down right here on the show. Thanks so much for sticking out with us. Really do appreciate you guys. And number 1, Donovan Ezeiruaku, edge rusher out of Boston College. This dude is like an absolute firecracker shot out of a gun. That's how explosive he is. He's both weapons combined. Here's what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say about the edge rusher. To bend and have the ability to really wreak havoc and get into the mind of a tackle you're going against. And that closing ability, can you close like a cat? He can do that. Then you have the attitude, the approach to be a play like a Raven guy. Yes, while he's not 265 and he's not 6'4", 6'5 either, he plays like a Raven. And is there anything more you could want or need in a prospect? A guy who has a ton of athletic ability, a guy who's had a ton of production in college, and also a guy who fits not only the scheme of this defense, but the culture of this team, the culture of this city, the culture of this franchise. And Donovan Ezeiruaku is a perfect example of that. Let's start with the good. He has disproportionately long arms, which is very great, especially due to his size being a little bit over 6'2". He accelerates well around the arc and has very impressive bend. He can win with speed, and if he doesn't quite just beat you off the rip, he can bend around you, get to the quarterback very easily, and he's incredibly durable, which is incredibly impressive for a guy his size and a guy at that position, because he started 36 straight games until he opted out of the bowl game in 2024. Let's talk about the bad when it comes to DE. He's got below average height with a very light frame, like we've discussed already. He's got average speed. It's none of this like James Pierce Jr. close the gap, incredible 4.4 or 4.39, 4.4 speed like other guys have in this draft. And he doesn't necessarily have the power in his hands to move blockers, which you see a lot of these top prospects having. But what you don't see a lot of these top prospects having is quite the production that Donovan had in his time, especially this last year at Boston College. 16 and a half sacks, 60 pressures, 80 tackles. He's great in the run. He's great against the pass. He's relentless in getting into the quarterback's eyesight, the quarterback's arm, anywhere that the quarterback has been. Donovan Ezeiruaku seems like he is right there. And that's why he is quickly, and I'm talking about quickly, climbing up my favorites list. If I would have ranked my 3 top prospects about a month ago, I don't know if Ezeiruaku would have made that list, but as I've been looking into him a little bit more, watching a little bit more film, and preparing for the draft just in a week and a half, Ezeiruaku might be number 2 just behind Mike Green on my top edge rushers. Do it now. Comment section down below. Grade Ezeiruaku as a prospect. Put your scouting hat on. Act like you're with the Baltimore Ravens and give him a grade of an A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know your answer in the comment section down below. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got 2 more edge rusher prospects to talk about, break down, do all of that right here on the Ravens Rundown. Before that, what you guys need to do is break down and go and finally hang out with our friends over at Game Time, because Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Ravens Rundown. And what I love about Game Time is they provide the easiest way to get tickets on short notice. You could save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. And I know that Baltimore does not have a basketball team, but the NBA or the basketball playoffs are almost here, and it doesn't matter who you cheer for. Being in the building in that electric playoff atmosphere gives you memories you'll never forget for the rest of your life. Easy to find and buy basketball tickets, and tickets for every kind of event in your area. Game Time has an awesome feature. It's called Zone Deals. Game Time Zone Deals allow customers to purchase tickets for a general area of a venue rather than specific seats, offering potential discounts and flexibility for last-minute ticket buyers. I don't care if you're a Knicks fan, a Celtics fan, a fan of anybody. Could be West Coast, East Coast. I don't care. I know you are a big fan of basketball. We got the playoffs coming up here. So you can go over to Game Time right now. You can type in whichever team it is. Their list of games will pop up. You can click in, see the stadium overview, get the views from your seat, all of that within the Game Time app. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. The link to this promo is in the comments and the description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is Game Time. Alrighty, we talked Ezeiruaku. Let's talk Shemar Stewart, a guy that I'm not incredibly high on. But before I talk about him, I'll let you hear what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say. I don't think Shemar Stewart will be a Raven. Praise God. Just because of the fact that when you watch him, I didn't see the disruptive plays. I didn't see him beating a guy initially that he should have. There's definitely a lot of split opinion on Shemar Stewart. He could go top 15 or he could be on the board when the Ravens pick. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Ravens choose Shemar Stewart in a week and a half, I might just go ahead and quit my job. Because I want to stay as far away from Shemar Stewart as humanly possible. I have not met one person who is high on Shemar, because he's had 4.5 sacks in 37 games played. Only 79 pressures in 37 games played. His final year, this past year at A&M, only 1.5 sacks. And yet people are talking like he's going to go to the National Football League, place better talent, and just all of a sudden figure it out. He's all of a sudden going to be able to use all that athletic ability he has, all that 4.4 speed, all that burst, all that everything, every buzzword you hear talked about in the National Football League draft. We all just think it's going to just click for Shemar Stewart, and I don't see that happening. And too often, when you make the draft, I find people making the draft more about what happens between January through April, all the combines, all the tests, all the pro days, instead of what happened September to December when they actually had the helmet on, when they were strapped up, when they had the pads on, when they were in the arena. And it makes no sense to me. You just throw away everything you've seen from these guys playing actual football because they put some underwear on and ran a 4.6. I don't care if you ran a 4.6. You know what's close to 4.6? 4.5. 4.5. That's how many sacks he had in 3 years. I don't want Shemar Stewart. All right, let's talk about the third prospect. Sorry about that. Let me catch my breath. A guy I'm a little bit higher on. That's Mykel Williams. Mykel Williams is a really, really exciting prospect out of Georgia. I always love taking a shot at Georgia talent. I think he could be something special. Here's what Mel Kiper had to say. I would have loved to see him go through the year healthy. He wasn't with the ankle. Do you see the burst? Do you see the explosiveness? He's great against the run. He's great at the point of attack. He can seal the edge. He hustles. He plays hard. He looks the part from the size standpoint out there on that football field. And I would not mind Mykel one bit. It is a little bit alarming that similar to Shemar, but not as, aggressively, the production isn't necessarily there for Mykel Williams, but he's a whole lot younger. He's only 20 years old as of right now. I think he's got a best years ahead of him. He's been hurt from time to time. I don't think Georgia used him incredibly in the way that they should have. And the physical skill set is there, right? Think Trayvon Walker. But the big question after that is, will the production arrive? And this is what I'm talking about. He was used on the interior and exterior. And when he lined up on the exterior, he most likely was on the tackle's inside shoulder, not necessarily the outside of him. And that's what I think will be the shift when he gets to the National Football League. I would love Mykel in this defense. I'd love a lot of guys in this defense, but you let me know. Pick one of these three guys. Donovan Ezeiruaku, Shemar Stewart, or Mykel Williams. Give me their initials in the comment section down below of who you want the Ravens to draft. Before I get out of here, Kiper mentioned one other prospect, and he wasn't an edge rusher, but he's a very familiar face, especially with Mel Kiper and the Ravens, and that is Malaki Starks. As we all know, Malaki Starks was mocked to Baltimore in each of Kiper's last two mock drafts, and in this interview, Kiper said, if Malaki Starks is there, forget pass rusher, okay? He's incredibly high on him, and I am as well, because I believe Starks could come in and make an immediate impact. Right now, nobody really knows what's going on in Baltimore's secondary when it comes to the safety room. We're all really excited about the possibility of what our Darius Washington could turn into this next year. He was really solid at the end of that year, but he's still a restricted free agent. Kyle Hamilton, you have all the trust in the world, but you could pair a guy like Malaki Starks with Kyle Hamilton, and you could shut down the entire top half of the football field. Okay? Starks had a little bit of regression from this year to the next, or last year to this one. However, I think they tried to use him in too many different ways. And when you could tell Malaki, just focus on one part of the football field, focus on one part of your job, he can excel at it. Make sure you guys subscribe, because everything related to the NFL draft we'll have right here on the Ravens Rundown. I promise you, you don't want to miss it.